English on the Run, Part 1. 12 tiny English stories to butt in on. If you listened and liked it, read on. Are some of you surprised? Do you like the sound? Are you amused? Is it different? Suitable for A2 to B2 level. Elementary to native imitator. Introduction. Imagine you're a kung fu fighter and you train in a gym on your own. What do you do there? There are punch bags, weights, crash mats, and all sorts of other stuff, so you can imitate what you would do in a fight. There's no one to fight, but you can strengthen yourself, stretch, and get your punches, blocks, falls and kicks ready for when you do fight, can't you? In fact, without this training, you're never going to fight very well, are you? Now, if you went to the gym once, it wouldn't help, but after 100 times, you'd really notice the difference. The gym is your MP3 player. My stories, questions and answers are the different types of gym equipment. How often you visit the gym will determine how easily you can speak in a real conversation. There's no video. The idea is that you use the course while doing other things. For example, vacuuming, cycling, running, even swimming if you have a waterproof MP3 player. Besides, learning languages is all about ears, not eyes. Your English will get better if you listen to audio with good sound quality and an appropriate learner level than if you watch films. How my course works. I read each story once through, and then straight after I read it again, but this time there are questions at certain points in between the sentences. These are followed by a short silence, and then I answer the questions. Your job is to fill the silences with answers before I do. Simple. Don't stop the MP3 player. Just keep listening and speaking. There are only 12 stories, so before you know it, you'll be back at the beginning. If you're jogging or cycling, the last thing you want to do is mess about with the MP3 player. Just try and say something, maybe just a word in the gap provided. What level are the stories? The stories contain language structures of mixed level. The pronunciation is clear and not too fast, so learners of different levels can use the stories. It will take many repetitions to answer some questions effectively. Here lies the key to my stories, namely repetition. If you find yourself not listening and my voice becomes a background noise, turn me off. Do something else, and then when you're ready, turn me back on again and focus fully. Included are PDF transcripts of the stories, questions and answers, laid out in such a way that you can just read the story and then cover up either the questions or answers and practice forming them. I recommend printing out the 12 stories, total 6 double-sided sheets of A4 paper, if you're going to use them for this purpose. Some of the language is not easy, so if your English is not so good, you'll need to refer to the PDF text to begin with. But once you've done this groundwork, you can just use the audio on the run. Combine English on the run with reading stories, novels, and listening to the radio and maybe podcasts, many of which you can find free on the internet, and any other kind of exposure to the language that you enjoy and find useful. How do I buy English on the Run Part 1? The course costs €6, about 25 Polish złotys or 5 UK pounds, somewhere between the price of 1 or 2 beers depending on where you live. Send me an email saying that you would like to buy the course and I will send my PayPal details. Once I receive payment, I'll email you the MP3 and PDF files. Simple as that. Once you've got the files, There's nothing to stop you sharing them with your friends, but please think again, as I would very much like to create more courses, but need to be paid to do this. The course is cheap, so everyone's a winner, baby, as they say, or sing. Look out for English on the Run Part 2, which I'm currently working on. Thanks for reading and listening. Who am I? My name's Andy Lowe, born in 1965 in Leeds, England. I've been teaching English as a native speaker since 1989. I've taught learners of all ages from 1 to 84 years of age. I was a Spanish teacher for 4 years too, teaching IB and A-level at a private school, an adult education centre in the UK. I'm currently learning Polish. I have 3 children. Bye.
Hello, this story is called Juana, i.e. Joanna in English. So, Juana is 8 years old and she lives with her mother, brother and sister on a farm in a village near Cusco in the Andes Mountains in Peru. She goes to school in a town a long way from her home. Every weekday she gets up at 4:45 in the morning and at 5:30 a driver arrives at her house to take her to school. He comes to Juana's house first and then he collects 12 other children from their houses. The children get to school at 7:30. She arrives home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and then she works for a mother on the farm. Her job is to sit down in a field and guard the sheep for 2 hours every day. Juana doesn't have much free time, and she's very tired in the evening, but she likes playing with her dolls and playing games with a tennis ball. Okay, here's some questions. Juana is 8 years old and she lives with her mother, brother and sister on a farm in a village near Cusco in the Andes Mountains in Peru. Where does Juana live? On a farm in a village near Cusco in the Andes Mountains in Peru. Who does she live with? Her mother, brother and sister. She goes to school in a town a long way from her home. Where is her school? In a town a long way from her home. Every weekday she gets up at 4:45 in the morning and at 5:30 a driver arrives at her house to take her to school. What time does she leave for school? 5:30 in the morning, or 5:30 if you like. He comes to Juana's house first and then he collects 12 other children from their houses. How does she get to school? In a bus with 12 other children. The children get to school at 7:30. How long does it take Juana to get to school? How long does she spend in the bus? 2 hours. She arrives home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and then she works for a mother on the farm. What does she do at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? She arrives home and works on the farm. Her job is to sit down in a field and guard the sheep for 2 hours every day. What work does she do? She guards the sheep for 2 hours every day. Juana doesn't have much free time and she's very tired in the evening, but she likes playing with her dolls and playing games with a tennis ball. What does she do with her free time? She plays with her dolls and a tennis ball. Hello, this story is called The Kettle. Rick opened the cold water tap and half filled the kettle. He then poured some water out again, as he didn't want to waste gas and was only going to make a cup of tea for himself. He placed the kettle on the stove and turned the gas on. The electric click ignited the gas. As he was waiting for the water to boil, he noticed a mouse disappearing behind the fridge. "I need to get another cat," he thought to himself. Okay, here's some questions and answers. Rick opened the cold water tap and half filled the kettle. How full was the kettle when Rick put it on? It was half full. In order to fill the kettle, did he turn the tap on or off? He turned it on, or opened it. He then poured some water out again, as he didn't want to waste gas and was only going to make a cup of tea for himself. Why did he pour some water out again? Because he didn't want to waste gas. Who was he making tea for? Himself. He placed the kettle on the stove and turned the gas on. The electric click ignited the gas. How did the gas ignite? With the electric click or an electric spark? As he was waiting for the water to boil, he noticed a mouse disappearing behind the fridge. What did he notice as he was waiting for the kettle to boil? He noticed a mouse disappearing behind the fridge. "I need to get another cat," he thought to himself. Did he already have a cat, or had he had a cat before? No, he didn't have one, but he had had a cat before.